It's a brand new eerie apocalyptic movie on Netflix with a stacked cast. Let's talk about it. What's up, Netflix fans? Welcome back to the channel. Let's talk about Leave the World Behind. Is this a movie worth watching? And if you've seen it, did it work? A family's getaway to a luxurious rental home takes an ominous turn when a cyber attack knocks out their defenses and two strangers appear at their door. This film is rated R. For language, sexual content, drug use, and brief bloody images, not as bad of an R-rated film. It's more so the fear that's creeping over you as you're watching because all of these ominous things are happening in the background. And while it does seem obvious that something bad is happening, and these two families are just kind of dealing with it, what's going on? There's a mystery surrounding all of these events, and it's up to our two families to not only attempt to figure out if they can even leave or not, but also to get to know each other because it does not get off to the best start. The good thing about this movie is it's a stacked cast from top to bottom. Ethan Hawke, Mahershala Ali, Julia Roberts, and all of them are really good. They're not playing the most likable characters, but they're still good. Roberts and Hawke play a husband and wife. I didn't expect their dynamic to be what it actually was. Ethan Hawke is playing a laid-back, very chilled character. Not a care in the world, it seems like, although underneath the surface you can tell that there are some things about him that maybe aren't super obvious at the beginning, so I appreciated the development there. But Julia Roberts, really unlikable. I'm watching this going, I don't like her approach. She hates people, which is fine. I get it to a degree, but her mentality and outlook is pretty unlikable. They have their kids, they're going on this mini vacation, they decide to go to the beach, and something really weird happens at the beach. If that happened to me, I would be absolutely terrified. I would also run faster. There's a scene where they're running from something, and they're all just kind of, I get it, you're running on sand, it's a hard thing to do, but come on, you can move fast.
You gotta be quicker than that.
The weird stuff's going on. We're not talking about it all that much, but all of a sudden, Mahershala Ali shows up at your door. If that ever happens to you, answer it. He seems like a cool guy.
I love you.
That's he and his daughter. They're on their way back from the event, but they also own the beach house that our family is renting, and they're like, hey, listen, there's some weird, can we bunk with you? I know it's my house, but can we bunk with you guys? So automatically, our two families are butting heads because nobody really trusts one another. Things aren't working. Devices aren't working. We're so used to technology and phones and this and that. And imagine a world where that goes away. I don't want to imagine that. You wouldn't be watching this video. And wouldn't that be terrible? And don't worry, it's just a basic outline of what's going on at the beginning. I'm going to leave all of the thrills and unexpected scenes and sequences to you all as we go along, and I like the fact that this movie is consistently a slow build, building up tension, building up fear, building up mystery in the background, and utilizing cinematography, really good shot selection across the board to convey this strangeness to the situation, right? If this was just filmed normally with a very average director and nothing special about the visuals, you'd still have the cast, but it's like you have to add something to the atmosphere. And I think this film approaches atmosphere very well because of that filmmaking style, man. You have the camera doing all sorts of funky things. 180 degrees this way, panning over our subject, slightly tilting every now and then, and, you know, to some that'll be a little bit too artistic, but for the film and the subject matter that they're going for here and they're trying to tackle, I don't know if they fully nail it by the end, but for what they're going for, I like the fact that they actually try to make it stylistic. And you add in the score, which is ominous and creepy all throughout. That made it way more entertaining than it would have been. So filmmaking-wise, from the creator of Mr. Robot, Sam Esmail, this is a very well-made movie, and I believe the performances take that a step further. They elevate that. Even the kids, I thought, did a nice job. Although there are certain things about them that frustrated me as characters. At one point, the little girl runs away, and I get it at the same, and I know you're basing this off of a novel, and you have to kind of follow that, but it's such an odd character decision, and I'm sitting here like, why?
Why?
You also have Kevin Bacon in here. He plays a man who is prepared. He is ready and determined to take on anyone who tries to approach him. And so that makes for a very interesting interaction. Doesn't play a big role in the movie, but it's interesting. And that's how I feel about this film as a whole. It's interesting. There's some really good ideas. When we're talking about these apocalyptic, end of the world, maybe we don't really know what's going on types of movies? Is it AI happening, technology? Mahershala Ali's character, he has a couple of ideas as to what's going on, and I thought he raised some really interesting and kind of haunting, like goosebumps type of points that'll make you sit back watching this and you're going, man, I hope this never happens in real life. Because sometimes movies, they're way more real than you think. But it's the combination of these events that don't really feel related, but as you start to progress through the movie, you get an idea as to what's really happening. And there's a point in the film, in the third act, when we're with Kevin Bacon's character, and we learn something. It involves drones flying around that are dropping something off, and you're thinking to yourself, oh, that's what this is. And, you know, not to say what it actually is, because this is not a spoiler-filled video, if you really start to think about it, it'll open a lot of eyes as to what this movie is actually about. So when you get to that ending where a lot of things, and this is one of my bigger negatives of the movie, it feels unresolved. And not that I was truly like, wow, that ruined the entire experience with the ending, but the movie just ends, and I'm thinking to myself, now, it gives you a good idea as to what is to come, if that makes sense. So it wasn't the most frustrating ending I've ever seen, and I like sometimes when films allow you to figure out what all of this means, but at the same time, I can see a lot of people watching this and getting that feeling that you're building up to something that ends up being nothing. Now, I don't know if it is nothing because of a lot of the context clues and hints that are dropped to you in that third act, but the resolve for some of the characters and some of the circumstances and events, there is none. I don't know how they would have approached it, but I felt unsatisfied with that ending. Just kind of like, man, we couldn't have had anything else happen after that. After the first act, which admittedly was a little slow, it took me a second to get on board with the characters, the character motivations. The dialogue was a little weird at the beginning. Julia Roberts looking out the window. I'm like, all right, I don't know if I'm on board for this, but it slowly started to build more tension. And by the time you get to that third act and halfway through, I'm going, man, I really like what they're doing right now. I'm on the edge of my seat. How are you going to bring it home? And I don't know if they brought it home in a way that will fully satisfy a lot of people. Now, some really good ideas at play, and some things that did come together after thinking about it, but still, the resolution just wasn't there for me. Before I give you my score, what would you do if something like this happened? Leave the craziest response you can down below. And what's your favorite movie from Netflix this year? Leave the World Behind presents some fascinating and eerie ideas at play. There is a lot to be desired with the resolution, but the ensemble is excellent, and there is a haunting atmosphere that will leave many unnerved. That's what they're going for, and that's what I believe they accomplish with this film. But again, some things left on the table, in my opinion. But when you're comparing it to other Netflix movies, I guess it's not that bad. Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, stay tuned. I'm going to have a YouTube short tomorrow about The Boy and the Heron, and then we might be talking another YouTube series. I'll see you later.